All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Get to the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
podcast.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. My name is Diego De Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Today we're talking about my new film, it's coming out and it's going to be great, I think, it's really going to be good. That's the wrong film, I kind of stopped that.
Hey, you want to go to Taco Bell?
Hey.
Taco Bell?
Yeah, that sounds like a blend,
What about the
I'm
hokey
trying
pokey?
really hard to think of like
Any line?
a Stallone quote.
It ain't over. The war ain't ever over.
I am
about the law. I am the law.
Yeah, there it is. That's the famous line. Yeah.
I am the law.
So, great news for me. I'm excited about this because Sly is bringing out another Rambo film.
Yeah.
Is he directing?
Yeah. No, he's not. This is what they just announced.
That's the
Actually,
thing.
they just announced Adrian Grunberg, who's directed Get the Gringo with Mel Gibson. Did
Okay.
you see that? The
Yeah,
one where
yeah,
he's
yeah.
in that Mexican prison that's like a
It's
city.
a crazy movie.
It is a crazy movie. It's actually really good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the guy actually has only one other directing credit, directing a TV episode. But he's a second unit director and first AD on like a million movies, like Edge of Darkness, Apocalypto. What else? I was just looking actually at his IMDb, but it was a lot. I was like, Jesus Christ,
he's
this is
worked
what
with
he's
Mel
mainly
a
known
lot.
for. He actually has. I surprisingly I saw that, but he is.
I'm a unit man.
Man on Fire, Jack Reacher.
Okay.
The second one.
Oh, wow.
Let's see, what else was he? Sense 8. He was the first AD on Wall Street. Money Never Sleeps. Jarhead. The Legend of Zorro. Like the guy, Master and Commander. He's done a lot of these movies.
What's the
as a
name
second
of
unit.
the
film?
new
Okay.
Rambo?
Rambo, Last Blood.
Rambo.
Right now, that's the title that's out right now.
Yeah,
I don't know
where
if
did you
that's
see that, by the way? Because I didn't actually see
in the article?
I hope that's what they're calling it, but I was having trouble actually finding that.
The article that I read, they call it Rambo, the Last Blood.
Okay. Yeah, I was having trouble finding anywhere where it actually said that it's generally being referred
No,
to
that's
as
what I'm
Rambo,
saying.
Rambo 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it.
I
don't know.
hope they call it Last Blood.
I hope they do,
because
too.
it
That would
started
be-
with the First Blood.
Blood,
The
yeah.
original movie was called First Blood, and then
Yeah.
the second one was Rambo 2 First Blood. Right? What was it? No, Rambo First Blood 2. Was that the second?
I think it's
right
no.
here. I have it right
I
here.
think
I have
it's
it right
just.
here.
Is it?
Yeah, the second one was Rambo First Blood Part 2, and then the third one they dropped the First Blood stuff and just called it Rambo 3. And then the fourth one, which came out just 10 years ago, was called Rambo.
Yeah.
Right? But no, the original film was just First Blood. Didn't have the word Rambo in it, the name Rambo in it at all.
Well,
and then the
he
second
became a
one,
household name.
He did, and so they were like, the next one, they're like, okay, we have to have the name Rambo in here. So they went Rambo, and then in a little small captions like First Blood Part 2.
Yeah.
And then the third one, they're like, we don't need this First Blood shit anymore. It's just Rambo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it became Rambo 3.
So yeah, there's a couple of articles that are calling it the Last Blood or Last Blood.
Are
And
they
there's a
saying
couple of
that's-
articles that's fine. No, nothing's saying that's official. That's why I said this.
Okay.
I don't know if it's an official title to the film, but
I hope
I
that
feel
they
like
use
that's
that.
a proper title because
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna do Rambo 6.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, he's like 71.
the wheelchair.
72?
I don't
How old
know.
is he?
I freaking hope they call it Last Blood.
he's
is
all
what I'm saying.
roided up, man. He's good to go.
He's
He's looking better now than he was just at the beginning of Expendables. Like when
He's taking those healthy roids.
what was Expendables 2010 or something? I remember when that came out. I was like, it's a good film, but he looked so beaten up and kind of older. He
The first one?
yeah, and
He was on
he was
steroids.
supposed. Okay,
No, he like talked about it.
okay. I feel like that's. Not,
I feel bad if he was because that shit'll fuck you up.
I feel like you're just making that up. I don't
No!
feel like you knew he was on steroids at that time,
He
or was it
called
earlier
me.
on?
We had a conversation.
Oh, really? Is that what happened? Is that what happened?
So yeah, some people are saying Sylvester Stallone announces Rambo 5, Rambo 5 Last Blood shooting in September. So there's a couple articles that are calling it that, but there's no from the studio, from Sylvester Stallone, or anybody that's involved in the film has named it that.
Okay,
Has said
so-
that this is the official title. So there's no official.
Okay, IMDb does say also known as Rambo Last Blood.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Um,
So until
but then there's another article in May that says it was previous from comingsoon.net that says Rambo 5 previously rumored to be titled Rambo Last Blood.
Correct.
So that could be the rumor. goddamn. Well, I mean, it's a little bit hard if you want to do another one after 5, so maybe they don't want to lock themselves into that title. It's like when they did Jason, was it Jason 8, 9, or 7 or whatever, the final chapter, and then they came out with like 6 more after that.
Oh, you know what's gonna happen? All right. Well, I don't want to say anything yet because let's read the synopsis.
Oh yeah, let me read you the synopsis, kids. Okay, so this is actually a crazy, roided out, coked up fucking synopsis, okay?
Dude.
But it got me excited, and it kind of reminded me of those 80s movies. Let's see.
By the way, do you guys remember the last one? The trailer for it? The main trailer for that?
Which one?
Like he gets on a truck and with
Oh,
a
yeah.
Gatling gun, and all you hear, "Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the." I was like, "Holy shit!"
I remember watching. I think I watched it once or twice, and I remember there was like I don't know why, but the CG for some reason like took me out a little
In the
bit.
in the fourth one?
In the fourth one.
Yeah, you know, I didn't see that.
They just CG'd like all the blood sprays or whatever,
Yeah.
and maybe it was I don't know if it was the early days of that, and it just like stood. I was like, it didn't look real.
Right.
Yeah, no, the studio.
Which is a stupid thing for the gig. I'm like, these people are being murdered.
So
He's
what
the
literally
studio that's behind
slaughtering
it,
guys.
they're known for those like just vulgar like blood everywhere,
Gratuitous.
like, gratuitous.
What-
Yeah, it's a gratuitous production, and
like John
like
Wick
as soon as
got
I
better
saw
at it.
that,
Yeah.
as soon as I saw the studio that was behind it, I knew it was gonna be different,
Right.
than everything. And I love the Rambo storyline, so I'm always gonna be biased for it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I can't say that it was a good film. I can't say it even comes close to the first 3 at all.
Okay.
I mean, it's
It was a great story.
You haven't seen it, right?
You know, I haven't seen the last one, and I've been meaning to watch it. I just haven't done it. For some reason, I've just kind of missed it, and I've been meaning to play it, but I haven't seen it streaming anywhere. But I know that one thing that threw me off, and 2 and 3 kind of did this to me as well. I really like the original First Blood. It seems smaller. It's a more plausible, more real world. Not that the other ones aren't real world, but they kind of just go outside of my reality. Like they're out some, other countries, or just sort of like he's back in the war kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I just like the first one, which is he's just got PTSD. He's like kind of this shell-shocked vet who comes back and he's trying to adapt to the real world. People start attacking him, so he does the only thing he knows how to do, which is just fucking fight. And he takes, he takes them to task for, their bigotry and whatever else they're doing.
The original
I
book,
love that.
He kills the general guy or whatever
That trained
shows
him?
up. Yeah.
Yeah,
at
who
the
ended
end
up
or
playing a
whatever.
part in the next couple movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he like comes back, but
Yeah.
so he ends up killing it. In the book, he like murders him too. And
Really?
I think Rambo kills himself
Yeah,
or something.
so awesome.
Like it's way darker.
book's very
I
dark,
like that story. Like it wasn't this roided up Hollywood thing that Rambo became. That image you get of Rambo with the red bandana on and all those guns, and
That's like
it was
the second
parodied in
and
Hot
third.
Shots Part 2.
Yeah.
And I
That's
guess
the later films.
That's right.
Yeah.
But so that became kind of what Rocky 3 and 4, which were like these shiny Hollywooded up, crazy adrenaline fueled movies.
Yeah.
The first one's not like that, and it sounds like Rambo 5, although it's kind of crazy and coked up, has a little maybe.
Well, read the
It
synopsis.
sounds kind of
already.
crazy. Here's the synopsis. So it's Rambo finds himself living in a ranch in Arizona, deeply troubled and wrestling with PTSD as he picks up casual work wherever he can. It's like, oh, a little bit of the original there.
Yeah.
When longtime family friend and estate manager Maria informs Rambo that her granddaughter has gone missing after crossing into Mexico for a party, he sets off with her to find the youngster. What ensues is a violent descent into hell as Rambo uncovers a sex trafficking ring. He teams up with a journalist whose half-sister has also been kidnapped and must deploy all his skills to save the girls and bring down a vicious crime lord. So that last paragraph, that last sentence there,
I don't know.
sounds like
That actually sounds
very-
pretty plausible.
It does.
It
I mean,
sounds
I
like
don't know
this-
about like a one man against like a
Yeah.
Mexican cartel that's in human trafficking, but
Right.
like human trafficking is a real thing.
Well, it
Right.
sounds like they
It's
put
big.
Sicario and Taken
together.
Yeah,
together
and then threw
created
Rambo in the mix.
The Last
I
Blood.
do like that line. What ensues is a violent descent into hell as Rambo
Yeah.
uncovers. Anyways, it sounds
You know what it
crazy.
sounds like? You know what it sounds like? That they're bringing. Remember Cobra?
Yeah,
It's
Cobretti. What was his name? Something Cobretti.
John Corbett or something like
Anthony
that.
Corbett.
Something Corbett.
I don't think I ever
Victor
saw
Vito.
Cobra.
What?
Yeah, you gotta watch
wow.
it. I
That's-
told you. I said this before. It was a repurposed script from the original Beverly Hills Cop that he was
Yeah.
developing,
Okay.
and he took a lot of what he developed and wrote for that movie. And once he left Beverly Hills Cop, he brought it and did Cobra.
It's like Hard Target without the slow motion.
Yeah,
I don't think
it
I've seen
doesn't
Hard
hold up as
Target.
well.
Oh
as
my gosh, Neil,
Van Damme.
for real.
This
We're live.
John Woo, Van Damme.
No,
He's got the long fucking hair.
We had this. I'm a Seagal guy. I've seen every Steven Seagal film.
Oh, that's right.
I did watch the
No, see, you
Time
see what's
Cop.
happening,
I did
Nick?
watch Time
You see
Cop.
what's happening,
Yeah, you
Nick?
finally saw it, right?
You see how he's failed in life because he's a Seagal and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
I mean, I like Schwarzenegger too.
No, I mean, you
And
went
Seagal.
for
No, I was
And Seagal.
divided.
Don't
I was
be-
divided on
you-
those
yeah, that's
two.
right, you're in the middle.
I was not divided on Seagal Van Damme. I was like, fuck Seagal.
Yeah.
You guys are crazy.
Yeah, it's wow.
This Putin puppet.
The guy's literally a cop
Yes,
in
he
New
is.
Orleans right now.
He was,
He's arresting
though. I don't know if
people.
it's still happening.
Yeah.
We
He's
could
like the
drive to New Orleans and get arrested by
He's
Steven
the
Seagal
ambassador.
right
He's the
now.
ambassador for like U.S. relations with Russia now, like appointed by Russia.
All
not
I'm
America.
saying is Van Damme's not putting his butt on the line, saving people of New Orleans.
Yeah, because that's not his job. Yeah, I'm not gonna go out there and look stupid.
Nobody is.
Van Damme's too Hollywood. He
Fucking
can't handle
attention whore.
Van Damme's too-
real stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I'm kidding. Am I? I don't know. But so what were we talking about here? So this Rambo 5 though, I really do. Again, I hope they call it Rambo Last Blood. I can't see like any official word. It's just kind of been loosely referred to as that. But you have to, if they're gonna call it that, they're gonna have to kind of end it with that, right? Because you call it Last Blood.
I will say
They don't, but they can do it like when you read the synopsis. I'm like, oh, are they gonna do like a Second Blood and with a girl or something like that?
Yeah, they could go Last Blood Part 2. Like
I
they
hope-
did with the original
somehow
First
they're
Blood.
going to bring in a family member so they can continue the franchise. So like
Exactly,
Sylvester
yeah.
Stallone-
How's he
Second
gonna have
Blood.
family? It
The
doesn't even look like the
she-blood.
guy's even had sex in like any of the movies. I don't think he could have sired
No,
any
he
kids.
banged-
His niece.
He banged the chick in
His
the
niece.
second one.
His niece.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're right. I have to rewatch those movies. That's why I'm sitting here with the Blu-rays right next to me. Diego's lighting them to me. I haven't seen 2 or 3 in like 20 years.
Oh, really?
I've seen First Blood a bunch of times, but I haven't seen 2 or 3 in a really long time, and of course I haven't seen 4. So I like how I'm claiming there are no they didn't bang any chicks. I don't know. I don't remember.
will say I'm a fan
There's no
of all
banging
these
in the
old
film.
geezers.
Are you
in
talking
their
about the Asian
60s.
chick?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't
All
think
these
that-
old
I don't think
geezers
that
coming
happened.
back.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think that happened. That was actually not very.
Maybe they didn't show it, but it was like implied. It was like,
No,
smooch,
I don't think
smooch,
it
and
was.
then next morning.
No, I think you're
You
confused.
you
And then
Heard
they
it.
show people being slaughtered
No, no.
and limbs like separating from bodies.
They
and I was
didn't-
like, they
I think
could've-
you're confused because she played the role of a hooker when she had to get into the base.
maybe.
Yeah,
Into the base.
Yeah, into the base where the captives were.
Sounds like all these innuendos.
This is like
flying around.
Rambo
apocalypse
2.
now
I know. It
situation.
sounds like a bunch of innuendos.
Are you talking about in base,
Yes,
first
exactly.
base? Yeah,
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
where you're
yeah.
going.
I was gonna say, it's interesting because this announcement reminds me of all these films that are coming out with all the old geezers coming out of the woodwork, making these action movies, and they're like front and center in the theaters, not straight to DVD anymore. Like Bruce Willis has some straight to DVDs, but you know what I mean? Like these guys
They
are
got
like,
a place. They got a place.
yeah, I'm like, I see Liam Neeson up there, and he just out of fucking nowhere, he did Taken, and then it's like action star guy.
Yep.
He's like 60 years old, action star
Yeah.
guy. Like, what the hell
Yeah.
happened?
There's been
Schwarzenegger
a
left
huge-
politics and came back.
I don't know if there's.
But Schwarzenegger's done like some action movies. But
I don't know if there's something
Doing
now,
Terminator
but
again.
I know, the new
Yeah, that's
Terminator.
true.
Yeah, I don't know if there's something going on now, but I've seen so many incredible short films
Yeah,
on like YouTube that has like incredible stars in it.
yeah,
Sigourney Weaver just did one with the guys that did District 9,
yeah.
and it's something Draca.
What's his face?
Something Draca or something like that. And it's
Maybe
like
they
District 9, and
just
it's
don't
30
have
minutes.
anything going on. They're
No,
like,
I think they love being involved in these very creative and small
And they're small projects, yeah.
because it allows them to like get out of what they're used to doing, or just get out of not Sigourney Weaver.
well, can you imagine? I mean, you're like Sigourney Weaver, you're Arnold, you're Sylvester Stallone, you're like, one of these Bruce Willis or whatever. You're like, your time is valuable. You're like older. You don't want to spend 2 years.
I think it's
on a
refreshing
film.
for them, and I think it's also a learning thing for them. It's just refresh my art type of thing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to here's
So
the thing.
what do you want to see in Rambo 5 that's going to correct the mistakes of Rambo 4 for you? Because you love the first 3 and the fourth one you weren't a big fan of. But what do you want to see? Like, was it too gratuitous? That doesn't sound right.
No, it was just that it was. I think it was sold wrong.
Okay.
When you see the trailer, you expect this impact, like high, energetic action film.
Was it slow?
And there's really only
He's
action,
like-
there's really only
He's
the
a
action
big beast.
scene.
He's
I
like
like-
a bear.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna. Well, that's the wrong analogy. He's like.
I remember hearing
He's like a
Sylvester
rhino.
Stallone's-
Like he's not gonna. You can run away from the rhino, but
Yeah.
like if you're too close, he'll kill you.
Right.
So, like in the first film, he has like agility, and like
he's
Rambo,
a big lumbering.
Yeah,
whatever.
he's
You
just
really
like
don't
this
see
big,
Rambo.
He was like in his 60s when
Well,
he
the
did
thing
it.
is that you don't see
He's
Rambo.
definitely on steroids.
You don't see.
Dude.
I think
I just googled it.
there's only 2 or 3 action scenes that he does in it. There's really no action in it outside of that part where he grabs the Gatling gun and shoots a couple of guys or stabs a couple of guys. He doesn't even really. I don't even think they had. Oh, this is what I was pissed off about. They didn't even have his knife in it.
No, I thought they did have his knife.
No, they had a different
I thought I
knife.
saw
They
it in
didn't
the
have his
trailer.
knife. He had a machete. He had a machete. That's what it was. He had a machete. He didn't have his knife, which is like legendary within the film. It's like a part of him. It's part of what you used to seeing with Rambo.
Right.
The storyline was a Rambo storyline where he helps the
Dude, he's roided. That's roids.
probably so.
I remember him talking about how he was supposed to look like a big gorilla. No, it's not right. He just works
Dude,
out.
no, they're experts that can tell. Dude, look at this. He is not on steroids.
You know people.
They're
Can't
the same age.
He's actually admitted to steroids or performance enhancements when he was.
Yeah,
he was talking about
Arnold's
Schwarzenegger,
all saggy pants.
Googly oogly. Yeah. All right. Well,
All
people
right.
can't see that.
They cannot say it.
It's not a
You
visual
can.
podcast.
Yeah, it's not a visual podcast. I think they're going to keep it. It sounds like they're keeping it. No, actually, it doesn't sound like it. Reading the synopsis, it doesn't seem like
starts like it's more like
it seems like
intimate, like a smaller story. Like
it seems like they pick up
it
from
goes
the last
insane.
one because the last scene is him going to the ranch.
Oh, it is.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it seems like they're picking up from that one.
Right.
But then it's like they're calling him to do all this whatever fight a Mexican cartel and stuff like this, like that, which like they're just jumping into this whole trend of Latino cartels that's going on TV and everywhere right now.
Right.
That's really popular. So I'm concerned. I'm concerned just like the last one. I think the last one actually had a similar storyline to Rambo 1, 2, and 3, which was about the little people, about...
Well, no, that's what I love about the first one. It's not about other people. It's about himself.
Well, it's about him, but the second one...
They
and the
cage
third,
him. They cage him, and he's like, you're not supposed to cage a fucking wild beast.
Yeah.
And
But the second one and the third one is about
Helping
him
others,
helping a small
villages.
group of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
and the last one was about him helping a small group of people.
Yeah.
So this one sounds like it's going in a way it's going back to a personal story of his because it's a family thing.
Right.
So I
friends.
don't know or friends.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect from it. I'm biased. I love Rambo. That's like I love Sylvester Stallone. I love his storylines. I love what he does. He's like my top 5 directors, actor.
Right.
Like he's on both lists.
Inspiring.
He is inspiring. His stories.
He's got
But-
Creed 2 is about to
Yeah,
not
Creed
coming
2's
out,
dropping,
but
and
they
just
finished
announced that and
shooting, right?
Expendables 4 is actually
Exactly,
being done.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because they start filming Rambo 5 in a few weeks. Right?
Correct, yeah.
And then right after that, he rolls right into Expendables 4.
Wasn't there some expendable? Oh, there was some Terry Crews thing I read about Expendables.
Him being in it or not in it?
Oh, there's always stories about because there's so many people involved in it. There's always stories.
That was one of my favorite things that's happened in the last decade was the Expendables movie.
I
They
haven't
took
seen
all
2
these
or 3.
Really, 3 they made a mistake because they made it PG-13, which is not the heart of like those movies are these action rated R films with these guys from back in the day, and then all of a sudden they just watered it down with 3.
Yeah.
It got a little bit off, but and they had Mel Gibson as the villain in that one, which I thought was a good touch. But 2, Van Damme played the fucking villain.
Yeah.
And he was great in it. I liked 2.
Yeah.
But the first
It
one
wasn't
was
Steven
still the
Seagal,
best.
it was,
the Steven Seagal never showed up in
yeah.
him because he
was an
there
asshole.
A
He was
thing.
being
Yeah,
an asshole.
he was being an asshole
He was
about
being
it.
a fucking asshole. Yeah, your guy.
That's
your
not-
guy.
we don't
the
know.
story.
He was.
That's what Hollywood says, so they can like blackball people
That's right.
and like control and manipulate.
Because
You know,
one
I
actor
really don't-
out of all of them, even Wesley Snipe, was an asshole, says Hollywood.
did he show up?
Yeah, he
Wesley
showed up in the
Snipes-
third one.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes showed up. So
He finally got that paycheck he was asking for.
he probably paid his taxes.
They didn't want to
Yeah,
give
he
Steven
went to
Seagal
prison
the
for a
money.
while is what
Yeah,
happened.
it was like 6 years.
Did he
or something
actually
like
go to
He
prison?
was good
Yeah,
in prison.
he
He just
went
got
to-
out in the last
he just
couple of
got-
years.
yeah.
Yeah.
For tax evasion?
that. Yeah,
Oh,
crazy.
Yeah, no, but
that is crazy.
I mean, I don't want to shit on Seagal because I don't know the guy. I don't really know. You just read stories and shit like that. But
I do.
who knows what's true? I know. But
No, I like his films, but he's not. I'm
so
just
then
saying
let's
he's
not
Jean-Claude.
shit on.
Yeah.
Let's not shit on Seagal.
Yeah, but there was a thing where they were trying to approach him and they were trying to work out him being in the movies. But Steven Seagal even said, let's see, he said,
Steven Seagal,
in a recent interview, he says, I just didn't like some of the people involved. Press further, he said simply, life is too short to work with funny people. That's what he said.
That's an asshole.
That's what Steven Seagal said?
Yeah.
That's what Steven Seagal said. What kind of statement is that? That's an asshole statement.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
He could
like,
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. He
seems
could have
like-
been angry at that
He
time.
said, of course,
Yeah.
I won't name names. There's good and bad people everywhere, and a lot of people in the Expendables I like too, so it's okay. So he's not a total, it's whatever.
So he's not a total asshole. He's just got an asshole,
Yeah.
which is weird because he's like Buddhist, so you'd think he'd like, forgive and forget type mentality. But
Yeah.
I don't understand.
I think he just has
I'm
the
like, dude,
mentality
get over
where
it, man.
he's-
You guys should work with these people just
maybe
for the
he'll end up in
fans.
4. Maybe he'll end up in 4.
Hopefully they work something
He
out.
was in Machete that Robert Rodriguez directed. He
That's
played
right.
the bad guy in
The bad guy,
Machete,
yeah.
which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah.
You remember Machete?
No, I remember Machete. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, when I saw him in that, I was like, oh well, yeah, he's into like doing these parody kind of goofy movies.
Right. Yeah, I think it was something on like just like he was asking for too much money or whatever when he's like, we got 20 guys in this film, and you're not like some big draw financially. So I think he may have been asking for more than he was worth.
He's
at
really
that
big
moment.
too.
Yeah. He's just lost all range of motion. I think that Tom Segura.
He doesn't need range of motion.
He's like,
he never
if you need
needed
to kick
it.
somebody in the throat, you just do it like this. It's like, what are you trying to kick a small child in the throat? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Get it up here, man.
No, he tells them to come to him. He just stands in one location and then he's like flipping dudes in the air. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
So
Steven Seagal.
the cool thing about Rambo, I feel like he's
We got to get
like
him on the podcast.
the 1980s.
Sure do. Just don't let him listen to any of these things I've said.
Oh,
That's true.
exactly. Well, or I said I don't want my ass kicked. Yeah.
No, he'll kick my ass. He'll kick my ass. I'm
He'll
not-
come in here. I'll
He
be
would
like,
drive
"You're
up
beat."
here because he's like 10 hours away from us
Let's
or
not
whatever.
forget
When he
this guy
comes-
is an Aikido master.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
It's true.
Yeah.
Like
If
all the jokes people make, like I don't think they would make it to his face
Yeah.
because he might like go psycho on him or something. Like,
Yeah.
rip,
I think-
rip
look.
their throat out or whatever.
I give him so much respect. I love
give
his
him so
films.
much
I love his
respect.
film.
yeah.
I just don't think I think from what I've read, my perspective, and I could be totally wrong, is that he's like a jerk. He seems like,
But we don't
he
know.
seems like, but I
Again, we've always tried-
I can't confirm because I've never been
yeah.
in
We've
front of the man.
tried in this
That's hard,
podcast.
yeah.
We've always tried to stay away from like mudslinging in this podcast because it's
I
so
haven't.
easy to get into that stuff, and we really don't know the stories. You hear these
never
things,
know. You're like-
but you don't know. It's like
No, we always fall into it.
It says-
I've fallen into it.
enough
Yeah.
individual
But-
takes don't necessarily they're individual
How-
moments, and they don't
It's-
necessarily sum up the person.
I think it takes a special person to be able to survive Hollywood and be successful and not talk shit about Hollywood
Right.
constantly. And I think Steven Seagal is just like,
No,
he
he
runs
just
into
called pe- but
he
that-
runs into
he just
issues
called
with other
funny
actors or
people.
actresses, and then he starts talking shit about it. He's like, "Oh, fuck that person."
Right,
piece
right.
Of shit.
You know, there's
he's
something.
probably a little too honest.
he
about
seems
that.
more confrontational. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I don't know
And
which
that's not a
side,
personality type I
but
like,
I know
but I
there's
don't know.
people issues with an Expendable in him because he called them funny people.
Yeah, but he
So
could have
I'm just
called him
saying,
a
so
lot
there's
worse
something-
than
I know,
funny
he totally
people.
could've-
Like that was a very
that
light.
was diplomatic in a way.
That was
Yeah.
very diplomatic with things held back, and you know that.
And he said
like-
some people he liked though. He said a lot of people on that film I do like. I think maybe I get the idea. It may have been Stallone, like the negotiation there broke down, or it could have been something. I have no idea.
It could have been.
Really
whatever,
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes these stories
All I
somehow
know
just
is
never
that
get reported.
Arnold Schwarzenegger
We
and
won't know for
Sylvester
20
Stallone
years.
got over it, so he should too.
There you go. Yeah,
I
'cause they
just
had a
get the
rivalry.
idea, like
that was
although
a friendly rivalry.
I get the idea those guys like aren't. Some of those guys are friends, but the most of them they're not buddies. Like they're just all people that have had their own, successful careers in the action film industry. Like that, they're not friends outside of that. But the
I think
idea
so-
that they're all in
yeah.
one film, it's like amazing because
Yeah.
I'm sure they all have their own like
I think they are
pride
close.
and they're like
Ego.
I think
yeah.
they're close in a way because they all have one thing in common. They're like the '80s action
Action
heroes.
stars.
Yeah.
And I think
And they're
they have
all
that,
in these
they're
movies.
that group. They're that elite group of that era. So
And I like
Yeah.
that he made them the Expendables because it was kind of like, it was a reference to also who they were. Like
Yeah.
they'd all kind of their careers were gone. They were just like these
And
expendable
it was like
old action
Stallone's
stars.
idea. Like
Yeah.
that was his,
The guy's
brainchild
smart.
or
We were
whatever.
talking about this before the podcast. Stallone is. Some people try to write him off as just like this. People who don't know who Stallone is or haven't watched something, they're like, I don't like him. He's just like. I've heard things over time that just he's not their taste and he's kind of like just dumb or he sounds stupid or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy's fucking smart. He's
That's how
written
he's an
most of the
incredible
movies he's
actor.
in, plus other ones. He's directed a shitload of movies.
He got nominated for best screenplay.
Yeah, for
Right,
for
for
the
Rocky.
original Rocky. Yeah, he got nominated as an actor, and that whole movie got a bunch of nominations. But like beyond
Wait, did
that,
it win for best?
Best Picture, I know that, and some other things.
If you think that he's a dumb actor, I think you should go back and watch the movie Fist.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think
That's
I
his
ever saw
porn
it.
that he did right before he got into Rocky and Lords of Flatbush.
All right. well,
Flatbush.
That was actually a movie he did.
Let's
Lords
go-
of Flatbush.
Let's go with It's Not.
Okay. No, he did do a porn though before. What was it?
Why are you switching to a porn? I'm
Italian
trying to give the
Stallion,
man credit. He goes into a
Stag,
porn.
something.
What if
Wait, what movie is
That's- that's
this?
that-
I've never heard of this.
FIST. It's actually
FIST.
it's abbreviated.
It's abbreviated,
I forget what it
exactly.
stands for, but it's
Movie. Is this like an
definitely a porn.
early career?
Yeah,
It's like right before Rocky, right? Or is it right after? It was right
I think
around
it's
that time.
I think it's after Rocky.
It may have been like a year
Yeah.
or two after. I feel like it was between Rocky and Rocky 2, though, between 76 and 79.
Yeah,
I want
it's
to say 78.
what's that movie with? Shoot, I forgot. Damn, like the more I ask myself, what's that movie? I'm forgetting the actor now. Russell, is it Russell Crowe? Yeah, Russell Crowe, the boxing film,
Cinderella Man?
Cinderella Man. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I don't remember.
It's a really good film. It shows his range.
Yeah, I mean, he's had hits and misses, but he's had a lot of hits too, you know? And the point is, the guy is actually conceptually, you know, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to conceive a story. He knows how to write films. Like, the guy's written a shitload of movies.
It's not even that. He knows how to put
Rambo
together a
5,
production.
yeah, I think Rambo 5 is written by him. I'd be shocked if it wasn't. He wrote and directed Rambo, the last Rambo.
Yeah.
And he's not directing this new one, as we said, but I think he did write it.
I think it's a good thing that he's not. I don't think I think it's a good thing that he's not, because I think he didn't transition well to how stories are told.
I don't know what the fuck that means. I feel like I contradict
Rambo's-
everything we just said.
Like, no, Rambo.
Well, Rambo 4 like wasn't the best Rambo story wise.
The story was
But he's proven
Not-
he can.
I'm
do it.
sorry, I
Rocky
mean-
Balboa was good. He wrote and directed that.
I liked Rocky Balboa
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah. He wrote and directed that.
Yeah.
He resurfaced both. Like after he did, he did those two.
Rocky Balboa. Yeah,
at
Rocky
the
Balboa
same
was
time,
good.
basically.
I think I don't know. I think he has issue with the cinematics of filmmaking. I don't think that's his forte.
I don't know.
So I think it's a good idea for Rambo to be in somebody else's hands at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's great. Like I said, he's my.
Well,
like,
he's also like 72 or something.
He's 72,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure
he's
he doesn't want
72.
the added headache of having to direct and act, and perform in the whole.
I mean, he
the whole
directed the
production.
Expendables, like the first Expendables.
He's got so
You know?
much money. Like,
yeah, so
he
it's like
doesn't
that
need
thing that
to direct.
it can go either way. It's hard to say that. I'm glad that he's gonna be a part of, like, a big part of the film, but I'm glad there's a new
just want somebody else.
generation, a new generation coming in to handle the film.
Okay.
Because
Right.
I think because of the last Rambo film, Rambo itself, not Rocky, not anything. I think the last Rambo itself, it needed more eyes.
Okay.
To put it together.
I mean, there's like this trend now where like,
But it
we
could
have-
be the wrong people was working with him.
Right.
So I'm not blaming it on him at all. So
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
He's still my number one.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more of this trend where like sequels are viewed as a positive thing now than like when we were kids
That's
and
so true,
sequels were
yeah.
coming out. It was like 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6, and they were just numbered.
And they got worse,
movies. And they seemingly got worse.
Yeah.
Not always, but
For the
more
most
often
part,
than not.
you can
they
name
were,
very
they were not
few-
as good as
Yeah.
the original.
It was literally probably
But-
like 95% of sequels
Yeah.
were not as good as the originals.
now the
Yeah.
sequels are like better than the originals more often than not.
Deadpool
Like,
2, Mission Impossible Fallout, like they just
even like the Guardians films, like Guardians
It's
of
like
the
a
Galaxy,
trend
like-
now.
Yeah, like and
It's
all
surprising.
these old movies are coming. Like, imagine if you were in Hollywood and you had an opportunity, and Sylvester Stallone approached you as a director to
Yeah.
direct like Rambo 5. Like,
Right.
I feel like 20 years ago, you're like, I won't direct this garbage.
Yeah,
like,
it's
you're
literally like when you get to like TV directors at that time, you're like, hey, you
Yeah.
want your foray into the film? Here's this piece of shit. Go direct this and get your feet wet. But yeah, like Creed was like one
Yeah.
of the best installments in the Rocky franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they figured it out. They kind of like, I feel like Dark Knight helped with that a lot.
Well, they're
like
doing
were
this
like-
thing where they create a thread from like the original story, and then they just create a whole new story.
Yeah.
But it's in that universe.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like the events of those other films have happened
Yeah.
in this universe, but
You know what the
we're
first
not gonna-
sequel ever it was really basically the first sequel. I think there was a couple of things here and there that can be considered sequels, but the first one that was like part 2, use those words, part 2 was Godfather.
Yeah.
Godfather Part 2 was the first time they did that.
Really?
1974. Think about
That's
it.
so.
Think
there
about it.
have to have been sequels.
Part 2 was literally like that. Those words. I'm 99% on this. You could check it out. Maybe there's 1% chance
That
I'm
seems
wrong, but I don't think so.
not long ago.
No, I know, but that's real. It's 40. It's over 40 years, 44 years ago. But think about it. How many movies do you remember seeing in the 60s and the 50s that were like blank part 2, part 3, part 4? That wasn't.
I don't know. There were a lot of like film noir, a lot of westerns. There had to have been sequels to those.
But think about it. Can you think of any? Can you name one?
I don't know, dude. I didn't see all those movies, and a lot of those have been lost. Like,
well, if you go really early on, like 40s and earlier, and maybe
if you go 40s, no, even like in the 60s, like they would make a movie, release it, and then if it did well, they may like preserve it, and if it didn't do well, they just put it in some basement, and then it would like corrode. And
are you saying just the word part 2?
Yeah, part 2. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Specifically part 2, and then they did have some sequels before then, like, but it wasn't really a thing. I don't think they ever pushed it like that. They might just have the same characters and like call it something else.
Oh, well, they had like the first, according to Life Science, the Fall of a Nation, which is interestingly released in 1916, is considered the first feature-length movie sequel.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it didn't have part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
But that's what I was saying. Part 2, using that and really creating this kind of threaded kind of thing where you're like, okay, good, this is your part 1, this is your part 2, part 3. That was The Godfather.
I mean, like Back to the Future.
Yeah, Back to the Future 2 and 3. Yeah, that was a big.
Well,
is it called Back? Did they
wait,
say
wait,
Back
wait.
to the Future Part 2?
What? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it says part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's part 2.
Okay. Yeah. I was supposed to say.
They don't really do that anymore.
No.
No,
they don't.
Yeah, it's actually like if you think about it, it's like part 2.
Well, those 3 films
it's
are one
story.
film.
Yeah, they are.
If you watch all 3 of those films back to back, like, and you just remove the
they're all
credits
in like 2
at
days.
the end, like,
They all take place in like 2 days.
yeah.
So here's the
movie
thing.
is-
The thing. So films weren't that long back in the early 1900s.
Right.
So the first recorded sequel was Sherlock Holmes 2, aka Raffles, and then there was Sherlock Holmes 3. That was 1908.
Yeah.
All the way up to 6 into 1910.
Right.
But it was.
Yeah, it says Francis Ford Coppola claimed The Godfather Part 2 was the first numbered sequel in film history. It wasn't quite factually accurate. It was the first U.S. film sequel to use such numbering, but the British film Quartermass 2, Enemy from Space. Was
I've seen that movie.
Have you really?
Yes, I've seen both the Quartermass movies. They're great.
Wow, I've never even heard
Watch
of
them. There's all these incredible science fiction films that were made in like the 60s over in the UK that never seemed. I guess they never came over to the US.
Yeah.
Or never got released here, and they're really interesting films, like, and really well done.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, so that's considered the
I
first
think it's part
movie
of the Hammer Film collection. Remember I was
Okay.
telling you about that? Hammer Film is like a production house, and they made
I
like
love
the
French
Bride of
productions.
Frankenstein's daughter's son's grave or
Right.
whatever. Like they made all those kind of movies.
Yeah, well, Godfather Part 2 was the first major motion picture to use Part 2 in its title.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, but that just
I
kind of
like
started that whole
Quartermass.
thing.
Got the thing.
Yeah.
The second one's a lot better than the first one.
Okay.
Quartermass.
I would name a film, but I
it's
feel
just-
like Nick's gonna have a joke for it.
The
What?
Quartermass one is literally the guy.
500 blows.
500 blows.
What did I say? What did I say? He's
I have no
so many
joke.
trends.
It's a
like,
joke itself.
He's gonna.
That's actually an incredible film. If you guys have not seen that, that's an incredible film.
500 below.
500 blows. Blow.
I don't think I've heard of it.
I've heard of
It's
it.
you heard of it?
Yeah, I have heard of it. Yeah.
I think it's a trilogy.
It was
if I
Sylvester
remember
Stallone's first porn movie.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, what I tell you? It's a respectful.
Yeah.
There
I
it
can't even say
is.
anything
There
else because
it
you got stuff because it's a French film.
Yeah.
What do you have?
Yeah. It's French blow, kissing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, back
but
to
anyways, yeah, that's Rambo 5. We don't have a lot of information other than that synopsis. We know who the director is, and we'll see. They're supposed to start filming it in a couple weeks, and then I'm sure we'll get a trailer in the next few months, and we'll go from there. But it could be good. What I'm gonna do though is because you just lent me all these Blu-rays and DVDs, I'm gonna go back and freshen up on my.
Everyone should
Rambo.
go back and Rambo.
I'm most familiar with the original. I haven't watched 2 and 3 in a really long time, and I've never seen 4, so I'm gonna go check them out.
And it's Rambo, not Rambone. Just to clarify.
Yeah, that's his next porn movie. He's gonna full circle. He's gonna full.
What is that? I swear that's
Circle
from
jerk his
something.
career.
It's from like a movie.
Rambone.
Rambo.
And it
They
does sound
they
familiar,
made
yeah.
fun of like Rambo, and they were like Rambone.
Yes, that is a thing.
I feel like Mike Myers was somehow.
I'm gonna
involved.
Google Rambone. Let's see what happens.
It might be, I'm telling you, it's like a quote from a movie, from like
my God.
Wayne's World or
Rambo.
Is
some
everything
shit.
porn?
Dick Rambone is an American actor. That's not it. It's a jock strap. It looks like Rambo. Oh no, it's a slingshot. Rambo and slingshot.
It's gonna start. You know how it's gonna
A
start.
particularly fearsome brand of dildo. That's on Urban Dictionary.
Is that
A particularly fearsome brand of dildo. 18 inches long with the width of a newborn's neck. Jesus Christ, Urban Dictionary. Ugh. Rambo and the Destroyer. This is what I was looking for. That sounds like a kind of like a Conan the Destroyer, Rambo. A kinky white slavery ring buys trouble for itself when they abduct the girlfriend of Rambone. Yeah, Dick Rambone is the actor. I think that's a porn. That looks like a porn.
Are you surprised? Have you heard the words coming out of your mouth and you're surprised?
I don't know what
porn?
I'm reading, but it's on
I don't know what
IMDb.
the hell you're reading.
Very shocked.
It's on
Why are
IMDb.
And maybe it's just a movie that, has explicit elements, like all those old canon films. Those
Yeah.
No.
I don't
what
know
he
how-
read is a porno.
It's rated X. It's an hour and 15
Oh.
minutes.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
adult. I didn't realize
Really?
IMDb had these kind of things on here, but it's not triple X. It's rated X. So maybe there's sort of like, I don't know. But anyways, it's from 1985. Yeah, Rambo, and I think of that. That's what I think of. It's like a porn parody of
I
Rambo.
can't remember. It's like maybe it was in Soap Dish. Anyway,
Okay.
the only reason I bring it up is because it was some. They were making fun of Rambo, and they said Rambo.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Maybe that's what they're referring
is-
to as this movie from '85.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it starred Dick
No.
Rambone. That was his porn.
This is the
porn
worst
name.
way to end this podcast.
No, it's like
So
this
go
is
watch
the
Rambo.
worst way.
Watch Rambo.
how-
Streaming on Pornhub right now.
You guys literally had pornography terminology coming out for the last 5 minutes.
It's true.
It's very true.
Go watch First Blood. That's what it's called. First
what is
Blood.
that supposed to be about?
a woman's first blood. That's what it sounds like, actually. It is a strange title.
Oh yeah, that literally never occurred to me until just now.
Neither did I
Thanks,
until he said
thanks,
it.
Diego. Now every time I think of First Blood, that's the image I'm
Yeah.
gonna get.
Yeah. But,
Sorry,
well,
I
I mean,
just-
but no, you guys have to think of the line. They drew first blood. Right? Is that what he says? They drew first blood? Isn't that what he says in the film?
Yeah.
That's how that's where the line comes in. It's like that dun dun dun, that moment when they say must be a hot tub time machine. Right? It's a thing where they say the name of the movie in the movie.
Oh yeah.
So it's
I was
so
like,
that
why
was
are we
it.
talking about Hot Tub Time Machine?
I think
You know what I'm
that's
talking about? The Craig Robinson
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Must
That's
be
what
some
I was
sort
like.
of
I was like,
hot tub
when
time
did he say that
machine.
in the film?
No, but he says in that. And then First
does
Blood,
say-
he goes, they drew First Blood. Then he looks
Yeah.
at the camera, does a little tap dance at it.
Nah.
So the police officer does say he drew first blood.
No.
No, Rambo does
Rambo,
it in
John.
First Blood.
I think
yeah,
they
that's
call
right,
him
Rambo
John.
did,
I don't
right.
even think they
He's-
call him Rambo.
John
Yeah,
Rambo.
they call him
Yeah,
John
John-
Rambo.
they say John Rambo.
Rambo is the greatest combat vet I've ever seen. But he's in the woods or whatever, and he's
Yeah.
yelling out to the guy who trained him.
They drew
First Blood. He's like, give it up, John. They drew First Blood.
It's true. Like, dude, he was like walking in the town trying to like mind his own business, meet up with the old friend, and he finds out his friend's dead.
Yep.
And then this cop's just like, hey,
Harassing him.
let me drive you out of my town and drop you off
Yeah,
at
that's
the end of
crazy.
the outskirts or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, get the hell out of here. And then he comes back, and then they lock
Arrest
him
him.
up, beat him up in the jail cell. Like they just start
What?
beating
Like,
him.
they hold
Well,
him
that
down?
was back then. People
Yeah,
got
like, it
arrested.
was nuts.
But also back then, people kind of got arrested for vagrancy. That was a very common thing, of vagrancy, like just having no
So they
money.
would just
You
like
get arrested
beat you
for.
with a stick and then
Yeah,
like
man.
strip you naked and blast you with like a fire hose
Yeah,
for
man.
funsies.
My dad used to hitchhike across the country in his bare feet back in his hippie days,
Yeah.
his Woodstock days, and he said one time in
I thought
Arizona,
you were
it
gonna say,
always
like-
reminded him when he saw First Blood. It reminded him of when he got arrested for vagrancy in like this like. It wasn't
they
it
do
wasn't
all that shit
Arizona.
to him?
No, they didn't do any of that. He just
Oh.
shared a cell with somebody booked for sodomy. That was like his whole story.
Oh.
Yeah, and then anyway, so I he never said they were abused him, but he got arrested just for having no money. So it wasn't like impossible that somebody get arrested just for being around and not being known and kind of like having no money, but they fuck with him a little bit too much because they're
Cops back then thought they were pre-cops.
pre-cops. Oh, like pre-crime division.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah, this-
today they do too. I don't think it's changed a whole lot.
it's true.
Let's talk about how this guy in your dad's jail cell got caught for sodomy.
No,
Like,
let's-
did somebody tell on him?
Let's wrap
No,
up.
you get caught for sodomy because when you're a sodomist, you don't really you don't pick and choose. You just kind
You're
of
fucking asshole,
sodomize
Neil.
anything.
You're a fucking
I
asshole.
know because I love the
Anything
topic.
you're tempted, anything you're tempted by, you sodomize. So he's probably found
Oh.
like sodomizing like a
Somebody
gas tank
saw
or
him.
something.
Yeah, and then like the cops are like, we gotta follow him home. And,
Or he
like,
was knee deep in
say
some
what's
horse,
up.
you know, and you never know. Like as a sodomist, you don't.
somebody
have,
tattletaled.
yes,
Yeah.
it's somebody's definitely. It was probably the horse. It was the horse. I feel like I made up the sodomy part of the story. I gotta ask him.
Was it Ed?
Famous Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk. That's right. That is a talking horse.
Yeah, it's a talking horse. He tattled it.
What was that Bobcat Goldthwait movie with the talking horse?
You're fucking dick.
remember
You're
that?
a dick, you know. And I know he's just like, yo, this is
Wait, did you just add the sodomy thing? Was that
I
not
may have-
part of the original story?
I had to add some color to the story.
I was
That's
just
what he
like-
does with all his stories.
You said he
I
shared
went
his
outside
cell
to get
with
the
a
mail.
sodomist.
I will tell you, this is the. It's either that he was booked for
He's
sodomy,
a fucking writer.
or
he's a writer.
or he was booked for siphoning gas. It was one of the two, and I know they're very different.
Here's the problem with
and I
Nick
gotta ask
telling
him
a
'cause
story.
I
When
change
Nick tries
things
to
up.
tell a story of something that really happens, he starts writing in his head, and it becomes something totally different. Yeah, I
gotta
just
add
went
color.
out.
Keep it interesting.
I just went outside
That's
to
true.
get the
Keep
mail,
the-
and these ninjas fucking attacked me.
And it was like everybody was kung fu fighting. Peaches, millions of
That's
peaches,
just in the
peaches for
musical
me.
break,
All right,
so,
let's in a way bring it back to Rambo.
Okay.
Yeah, so well that was the story. That was my dad's own John Rambo
Yeah.
story minus, my
That could have
dad's-
happened to Rambo.
That could have happened to Rambo.
That did happen to Rambo in a way, but except for
I
the
don't. Well,
sodomy
I think he
part
was
or
by
whatever.
himself in the jail cell, right?
He was.
Yeah. So all I hope for the next one
And what's his name was in? Who was the guy that played the cop?
wasn't that Brian Dennehy?
Yeah, Brian
Yeah, he
Dennehy.
was just in
He was
Tag.
in
We saw his
Tag.
movie Tag last
It's like
night.
looks
Yeah.
really old though.
Yeah, he's a pot smoking dad.
Yeah, for like a short
Yeah, for
scene.
like
but I was
half a
like, I
second.
didn't know he was still around.
I know. I hadn't seen him in a long time.
I thought he
was
died
in FX. He was in
in
FX.
Tommy Boy.
He's in Tommy
Oh my
Boy.
God.
That's
He
right.
died in the
He's
movie,
a
and,
dad.
and then I never saw him in a film after that. I was like, oh, he must have really
wow.
died.
I always think of him from FX and FX2. I think he was.
Oh, yeah, that's
was he
true.
in Hudson Hawk or no? Maybe it's just FX. But yeah, he was in the FX movies.
He was in a lot
yeah.
of films
Cop.
in the 80s and early 90s.
That's Brian
so.
Dennehy. I like
yeah,
him.
he's a good actor.
Yeah, he
Well,
is
what,
good.
what were you going to
But
say?
I was going to say, all I hope, I mean, it's funny because when you read the synopsis, it starts out light, sort of like that he's in an Arizona town, suffering from PTSD, picks up casual work, and then all of a sudden he's in a descent into hell in Mexico, going up against a sex trafficking ring, crime lords. It's like, it gets crazy really quick. And I do want to see that kind of insanity, but at the same time, I really like in First Blood how it was kind of a very contained, smaller story, and he wasn't a superhero; he was defending himself. I would like to see a Rambo movie where he's the target. He's not going after being, a superhero or trying to avenge or right some wrong. I want to see him cornered again.
Right.
I'd like them to do one last Rambo movie where he gets cornered and he dies at the end. Like where he gets cornered, it's insane. It's one last blaze of glory, and he's in the wrong the whole movie. Well, I want to see him being completely wrong because in the first one he is kind of
Rambo
wrong.
is
They're
never wrong.
No, they're wrong, but he goes too far.
Oh, he
in the first movie,
100%
and I
goes too
like
far.
that, and I want to see him do that again, but for it to backfire on him, and by the end, but then it serves as like a symbol, and it maybe raises more awareness on like the way our vets and our guys suffering from PTSD are treated in this country. Like it could be a kind of an allegory to the
If you
current
wanted to
state
make
of
it
the
like
way
a
vets are being treated.
serious-
Yeah, I would like to see a final film like that kind of goes over that because he is a symbol of that. These vets that are kind of like used, abused, and not taken care of.
Well,
After
but
basically fighting
that
for the
was like
country.
Vietnam, and now I don't think that's how the country views the vets. Like vets come back.
Oh no!
Regardless of what
lack
happened.
the lack of care for vets is absolutely
It's
a button.
Oh no, but
that's
like
what I'm saying.
the way the general public are like, oh, you're a hero.
Oh yeah, they call him a hero. They don't call him baby killers anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, that
that
whole
is
Vietnam.
correct.
Yeah, it's that Vietnam.
Even though they may have killed some babies.
All right.
Just
Well-
saying.
I mean, they
We
absolutely
just
kill
needed-
some babies. Like not every soldier's automatically a hero. Some of these fucking guys are insane.
This is a dark, yeah. The
I've
next
seen my
Rambo,
Oliver Stone movies.
That's true. I also.
next Rambo
Come
film
on,
is called
Platoon.
A Lot of
Yeah.
Blood.
Yeah, a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
blood. But I would like to see that. So if they don't finish it off with this one, I'd like to see one where he doesn't go and do a Taken thing. He doesn't go try to
I
save
think that's what
somebody.
they're gonna
or-
do, though.
I know, but I want to see one like that. I want to see one that's like one last time he's cornered, but I want him to die as like a martyr at the end.
I want the guy
And like
that
raise
did
awareness and
Creed.
ends with like news segments kind of like depicting his story. And kind
No,
of
what I want is the
summing
guy
up
that did
everything.
Creed to do
Ryan
this-
Coogler?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to like write a whole screenplay, and it's like Rambo, but it's like about his like son from the chick from the second movie that he banged, and then he comes and he finds Rambo, and he's like all old and falling
Yeah.
apart, and he's like an alcoholic or something. He suffers from PTSD, and then he somehow gets caught up in this like helping out
Right.
somebody and then caught into the Mexican cartel
Yep.
situation,
I-
and it becomes Sicario or something.
Right.
You know, like that.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
That would be.
I don't. I'm
Like-
totally seeing it. I want to see like not really an action film.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I want to
mean,
see
it's action, but it's not. At the same
More
time.
of like I want to see back where because the first and the second is about the government
Mm-hmm.
kind of like fucking with him.
yeah.
I want to see him trying to settle down, whatever, in that farm, and he's trying to just gradually finish his life off, and just the government tries to whatever take his farm or something like that, and this farm is like it's his family. It was passed down to him, and he's trying to something just really like personal back to what you said the first one where it's about him, but not really action, but just ending the story of Rambo.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm
If
saying.
there's
That's
a
what I
way they
wanna
could
see.
pull off like did you guys see The Foreigner with Jackie
No.
Chan?
No,
Yes,
I
I
didn't see
did.
that.
It
was
was
like
a
a Death
great
Wish
film.
kind of a movie,
If
right?
they can pull, yes, exactly. If they can pull something
no, I mean, well, so
Yeah,
he's
his
when
family
you
gets
see the
killed
first.
and then he goes.
Well,
avenge them.
it's only his daughter, but like
Oh, right.
you see the whole first 20 or 30 minutes of the film, and you just think he's this old, sad man who owns
Yeah.
like a
Janitor thing, or-
like what's it? He owns like a dry cleaners
Dry
or something.
cleaner,
Yeah, it was very simple.
And yeah, you just think his like daughter gets blown up in a terrorist bombing, and he's trying to find out who the terrorists are.
And they're
or
not helping
whatever.
him,
And,
right?
Yeah, they're like the what is the Irish
IRA.
IRA. Yeah, it's like some former IRA members or something. And so, yeah, he's trying to find out. And then all of a sudden, he's like doing all this crazy shit. And you're like, who is this badass Jackie Chan? But like you find out that he's like some retired secret agent, like killer or whatever for the government, for the U.S. government. Like he's like a fucking Green Beret or something. And you're like, oh, okay. But it was like you didn't know
And
that that's what he
yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
the whole time, for the first like 45 minutes, he's just like this meek,
Right.
quiet, like
Law
trying to.
Law-abiding citizen kind of plays.
Yeah,
that, too.
law-abiding
It would be
Yeah.
great
So-
if he deals with something like in a small town
Yes.
again.
Yeah, if they could somehow like
Make it more
sell
intimate,
the Rocky
smaller.
thing,
Yeah.
but like
Rambo thing.
yeah, like almost like not call it Rambo 5 and like not let the audience
Just call it Last
know.
Blood.
Just call it Last
Yeah,
Blood.
have a
Oh,
film
you
come
mean
out.
really do a twist is like it's Rambo the whole time?
Yeah,
You're
like and you don't know it's a Rambo until like
I don't know
the
how you're gonna
end.
do that.
I don't know
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they already fucked it up by calling it Rambo 5.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, you put Last Blood, you put Sylvester Stallone, you kind of start connecting the dots.
that's
so
true,
I think,
yeah.
So I mean, I'm hoping good things for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
I
but
think
I
I'm
hope they
gonna
do
be
one
biased.
more so they do what we're talking about.
Yeah.
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 I'm pretty
I do want to
That would
see
be
a
cool.
descent into hell though. I just like those words.
What does he get?
I don't speak Spanish.
If it's the right director, I think
I'm
it
just
could be
gonna
really
kill you.
interesting.
Yeah, and it's
I
the
just
guy who
don't
did Get the
want.
Gringo,
I don't
which
want a
was-
body count thing. I don't
Yeah,
want like
I know.
him to kill like 700
body is
guys
right.
by like
Yeah.
on his own, and I'm like,
Yeah, that's not what I'm
that's
looking
not what I
for.
want from Rambo.
Yeah, that's
anymore.
not what I fell in love with the original.
Yeah.
For. It wasn't.
I
about
want to
that.
end it with a scene of him sitting on the porch
It's chilling.
of in his farm. So
dying and then dead.
It might. Who
well, I
knows?
didn't go that way because I didn't want to go
I
back to
don't like
Godfather.
I don't like
3.
killing. Yeah, exactly. With the pigeons, feeding the pigeons, falls out of his wheelchair.
Yeah, I don't want to go back to that. Yeah, so
No. He's
I
like
haven't
bleeding.
seen
Like
it.
he makes it back to the one place that he loves, and he finds peace, and he dies in peace, like bleeding out from some.
he never passes the mailbox.
What?
He never
What?
passes the mailbox.
You
and-
just say some things sometimes. I don't know
he
what
never
you're talking-
passes the mailbox and get to his.
I haven't
property.
seen Godfather.
Oh,
3,
he never gets.
so.
He never gets
Yeah.
past the mailbox on the way
Yes.
in onto
He
his
never
driveway.
passes the mailbox. Yeah, he just dies.
That's not.
right there.
It doesn't. It's like a sexual thing.
Why is everything? How is a mailbox sexual, Nick?
Think about it.
How is a mailbox? Look, this
It's
guy.
that thing where it's like the mailbox.
The
like
mail-
you're not. You know. You got it.
Yeah,
You
all right.
don't
Well,
pass
you
the
guys
The
get it.
mailbox
I'm
is
gonna
where
end
the
the-
deposits are made.
Exactly.
All right, I'm just gonna end the podcast
okay.
because this is just not working out for me.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us here at Get to the Podcast. That's Get to the Podcast with the number 2. My name is Diego De Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Go watch Rambo 5: The Last Blood.
When it comes out, and
If it's
start
called
shooting.
that.
But
Yeah.
watch
It's called
First
Rambo,
Blood
maybe. Yeah,
as,
watch-
as the prequel.
watch the original.
If
Watch
this-
all of them.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. That's not right.
That's different song.
Okay.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.
Go.